Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about A Hedge of Fire by Matthew Musgrave. So that's the cover there, a massive spaceship crashing down and with a solitary figure in the middle. I was sent several emails from Matthew asking me to read and review his book on my channel. I thought I refused and I declined the offer, but I must have accepted because he sent me an email asking me when am I going to read it. So I thought, okay, I must have said yes to this. So I thought, okay, I don't have many author books to read. So I went on Amazon and I bought a physical copy. You can also get this on Kindle as well. So this is a inspiration and a retelling of the book of Job, which is a book from the Bible, which is in the Old Testament. I haven't read the Old Testament yet. I'm still going through the New Testament. Um, but I thought, okay, I will deliberately not read the book of Job after or while I'm reading this, because I wanted to kind of read it from the perspective of someone that hasn't read the book of Job, and more importantly, as just a normal, everyday person who likes reading books. Would someone that has never read the Bible, if they pick this up, would they be able to understand it? And I think that you would, the majority of it. There are some cryptic bits and pieces. It doesn't get it, it's not preachy at all, but ultimately, yes, you can read this without even reading the book of Job or actually reading the Bible at all. So if I haven't said already, this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding a Hedge of Fire by Matthew Musgrave, and also this is going to be a spoiler-free video as well. So this revolves around um, our main character, and apologies if I mispronounce this character's name, but it's as best as but this is probably the best I can do. His name is Alike. I put it on the screen. Hopefully I've said it right. That's probably the best, but that's probably the best I can pronounce it. He is a businessman. He is a father. He is a husband, and he is a upstanding member of his community. Now, at the start of the book, his whole world, in fact, the world itself and everything around him, was created by an entity called the Voice. Now, the Voice is obviously God. I am pretty sure that the Voice doesn't have a physical form. He does have a location up on a mountain where people can go to him, and he talks to them, kind of gives them wisdom and teaches them about stuff and about the world and his creation. And at the start of this, people can actually fly, like Peter Pan. They can fly all over the world, and there are dragons in this book. Not a lot of the time, so don't expect this book to be absolutely chock full of dragons flying around and these epic battles. That's not what you're getting, guys. This isn't Lord of the Rings, and this definitely isn't Game of Thrones. But nevertheless, this is a Christian fiction book with dragons in it. Now, these purposes of these dragons comes into the story later, which I'll cover in a minute. So at the start, everyone is all happy and they are all living in harmony. But shortly after this, a spaceship comes down and this man comes out of it who is referred to as the Stranger. He doesn't have a name, he's just referred to as a stranger. Now, the stranger in this book is Satan. He comes down and he mocks the Voice and his teachings, and he says, oh no, this is all wrong, this is all backwards, you shouldn't listen to what the Voice is saying, it's all wrong, listen to me, I know better. So while he's with these people, he gives them some sort of like liquid to drink, this potion, And I cannot remember the full ins and outs about what this actually does. I think it's supposed to kind of open their eyes to the truth and give them ultimate knowledge and power. And some of the people do disappear in front of everyone. They just instantly disappear. And then the voice is known about the stranger and about what this potion is doing to people. It apparently is kind of poisoning them and corrupting them inside out. It's kind of like how a apple goes rotten from the center, and ultimately they will succumb to this poison that this stranger has given them. But the voice kind of has compassion on Alike and his creation, and he says, right, look, you won't be able to overcome this poison. I cannot cure you completely, but I can do something that will suppress and slow the poison. Now, this is where dragons come in this story. They can fly to people and they can be summoned to people, and the voice kind of calls a dragon to him, and he kind of sacrifices it, and he gets a bowl, and he fills the bowl up with dragon blood, and I believe they have to kind of leave it outside their house, but ultimately, but yes, they do have to kill a dragon, and these dragons don't talk. They're not They are not sentient, but I think they know what they're doing. They are willingly sacrificing themselves. Now, the kind of the village that Alike is staying at separates, and half of them stay in the village where they grew up with the voice, and half of them go out to this other location, which is called the city with the stranger. Now, the city is supposed to be this all-powerful, almighty place where everyone is happy, everything is perfect, but the voice kind of shuns this, and Alike shuns this, and also his father and his family, and everyone knows that there's not something right with this city. We don't really spend any time in the city, but it's referred to as this bad place. And there's all these giants, creatures, these magnificent creatures that come out and they do battle with each other. Not sure about their form. I think they are supposed to be giant beasts that are made of metal. So there's kind of like this massive transformer battle that is happening amongst these villagers, and it's not entirely sure about why they're there. I'm not even entirely sure about why they were fighting or where they came from. I mean, maybe in the Book of Job it explains it, but I'm at a loss. So as the story goes on, stuff happens to Alike as the members of the village have to obey by a set of rules that are called the requirements, such as treating people fairly, respecting the voice, and overly being a good person. The requirements are like the Ten Commandments given to God. Given to Moses from God. So Alike's children, he has a boy and a girl. They both die tragically. Something happens to Alike's wife, and she's kind of put in this massive see-through box and judged by the community as to repent about what she's done. And the death of Alike's children is heavily looked down upon by the villagers. The members of this community, because they strongly believe that Alike's children did something to upset the voice. They didn't fulfill the requirements set by the voice, and that is why the voice kind of laid judgment on them and killed them in tragic ways. And Alike's unborn child was killed in the womb. Obviously, as I said, his wife has been put on trial. Um, at first, Alike is kind of saying, okay, she has done something wrong, she has disgraced me, and he doesn't really stand up for her at first. But as the story progresses, he kind of changes his mind about that. And also, his life as a whole has been turned upside down, and such as his business being destroyed and laid waste. Loads of his vehicles that he creates suddenly explodes for no apparent reason. The villagers burn down his house and his business because they think that's what the voice should do. And it's kind of like this massive witch hunt for Alike, as the villagers strongly believe that all these tragedies that's happened to him is because he has failed the voice, that he has done something to upset the voice, and that is why he's being punished. But in order to kind of reverse this and somewhat be accepted by the community again, he has to say sorry and repent. But he hasn't done anything wrong. There is nothing that he has done wrong. Although the book kind of tries to convince you that he might have had something to do with it, kind of um like when he was unconscious and maybe he was controlled by something. Because we spend all this time with Alike, we know as a reader that he hasn't done anything wrong. But has his family done anything wrong? We don't really know. We go on this journey with him, and as a result, he's kind of shunned by the community when this is all over and done with, and he's been sent into the wilderness to wander around. And um, at the end, I won't say what happens at the end, but the voice kind of presents himself to Alike and kind of shows him his creation and saying, right, I've done all this. And um, he kind of is humble to the voice, and he's kind of shown not the error of his ways, but he's kind of been shown the like scope of everything and how big it is, and how he's just like one small, insignificant, but still important part of the whole jigsaw puzzle. Hopefully that made sense. It's kind of like the creator explaining to his creation about how he's done everything. I think that's probably the best way I can describe it. The genre of this book is both fantasy and sci-fi, both equally. There is no like sense of, okay, this is a fantasy book with slight twists of sci-fi, or this is a sci-fi book with slight twists or elements of fantasy. This does have spaceships in it. They do go on excursions out in space. So that is the Hedge of Fire. That is the book as a whole. As I said, you don't have to read the Book of Job. I mean, I haven't read the Book of Job, and I understood it. Um, it was very weird. It was very strange at times. This book should have taken me about a week to read, but ultimately took me several weeks to read. It's not overly long. It's about 178 pages long, but it did take me a long time to read. Um, I suppose it was a bit slow at times. It wasn't the most riveting thing to read. But with that said, I was intrigued by it, and I did want to know how it was going to end. It hasn't really left me with a burning desire to read anything else by Matthew. But I guess that if something, but I guess that that's if he writes any other books, I would be intrigued. So I wasn't really sure what to do with this book I actually finished with it. I do not know whether I was going to pass it on, whether I was going to keep it, or what I was going to do with it. I think that I'm going to hold on to it because it would be interesting to read the Book of Job and then read A Hedge of Fire straight afterwards and kind of see the inspiration for it. It does have at the back. It does have these kind of references to the Book of Job. I wasn't going through this. I was just reading it as a normal book. But afterwards, but on my next outing with this book, I suppose I will be kind of reading the Book of Job and referring to that while I read this to see if there's any um, massive benefit for me to actually do, whether there was to actually see the kind of connections and the inspiration for it, I guess. So, what am I going to rate this book? I think I'm going to rate it a 3 stars. It was okay. It wasn't the best. It was a very strange book, but it was a very interesting and intriguing book. But it was very interesting to read a Christian fiction book with dragons and spaceships. Um, yeah. Let me know what do you think about this concept of this book? Does it sound something does it sound like something that would intrigue you, something that you would be interested in reading? Let me know if you're if this is something that you would like to read. As for me, I wasn't really completely satisfied with the story. It was just okay, but they all can't be home runs, I guess. So yeah, thank you for messaging me, Matt. Um, Even though I did have some sort of like negative thoughts and positive thoughts seem to be mixed together with this book. Overall, I am pleased I read it, and I am going to be rereading it again. So there's that. So yeah, that's been my video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and with all that out of the way, I'll see you in my next one.